Hey, y'all, welcome to the Smokeless Podcast. I'm Nick.
I'm Wayne.
I'm Justin.
And we're here with our dear friend and barbecue pioneer and a dude in a green shirt who likes oysters, Mr. Aaron Franklin.
What's up, fellas?
Welcome.
So I'm just going to talk a little bit, and then I'm going to close this. I got this out just because your list of awards, recognition, and accomplishments is long, so I couldn't memorize it.
I've been failing upwards for years.
Aaron, you won the James Beard Award, Best Chef Southwest 2015. 2 number 1 spots on the Texas Monthly 50 Best list. Multiple other appearances there. Best Barbecue in America by Bon Appetit. American Royal Barbecue Hall of Fame. Recently named one of the most influential people in barbecue in the entire world.
What was that?
Southern Living's, the Australian guys. You're number 2.
Well, damn it.
Inclusion in the first Michelin Guide of Texas. Your methods, innovations have changed the landscape of this American culinary art form forever. The new generation, the new Texas Top 50 list, I think probably wouldn't exist, most of the guys on there, without your influence, either directly by having literally taught them, or at least just indirectly by just being a great role model. You're on TV, you're on YouTube, multiple New York Times bestselling cookbooks, your TV series Barbecue with Franklin, a master class, and Anthony Bourdain was in all of your brisket. So congrats, and thanks for the huge impact you've made on our industry. It's pretty incredible, man.
Well, thanks. Boy, you sure know how to make somebody feel awkward.
I just wanted to get that out of the way.
All right. Oh, now that we're past
Just
that.
wanted to get that out of the way. And truly, innovation is something that I don't think most people would think, well, barbecue, how do you innovate in barbecue? But you've found a way to constantly innovate what we do. And you're really responsible for a lot of the new guys. And even me, it's made an impact on how we do things and how we think about things. And it's pretty incredible. Dude, you weld pits. You're always looking for something to be better at what you're doing. And what is that drive all about? How did you decide, oh, well, I'm going to start welding pits.
Well, I could definitely answer that. I didn't have enough money to hire a welder.
Right.
But I had just enough money to buy a welding machine.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, I'm going to do it myself. And I really do. DIY and everything is kind of what I do. That's why this place is falling apart.
Right.
I built this restaurant. But I do want to say thanks for all the kind words that really, some of them I didn't even know about. Because I'm too busy welding things, I guess. But I'm really excited to chit chat with you guys. We all kind of started doing this about the same time. And, you just said all these things, all these, nice things and stuff. But if we backtrack early on, I was just some dumb, 20-something-year-old kid, oh, I don't know, I think I like barbecue. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. And I remember getting into events and stuff. That's kind of when all of us started meeting each other.
Yeah.
And, I remember one of the first events I called you. I'm like, hey, never done an event before. How the heck do I know what to cook? You're like, oh, yeah. So, we do about 2-ounce portions. And even from just the get-go, how nice, the community's always been, has really supported me in a lot of ways. And I'm happy to be able to give that back to a lot of other people. But just the openness and stuff is really cool. And that's kind of what I think barbecue is all about. It's not like when I was kind of, there weren't really barbecue books, then when I was kind of getting into it, but everybody was real secret. It was oh, it's secret sauce. Oh, it's this, it's this. It's it's kind of a lot of stuff, it doesn't really matter that much. But kind of getting, starting to do events and getting to hang out with y'all was really cool. And some of my funnest events, all of y'all were there, cooking, we're all doing the thing. So I'm really excited to hang out with y'all today because it's been a long time. We were talking before this, we haven't hung out in ages,
Yeah.
years,
Yeah.
maybe even like 10 plus years.
Yes.
I mean, it's been so long and so many things have happened. So thanks for having me.
Of course. Glad you're here.
I'm glad y'all came to me though.
I mean, you could have been so insular with your processes and so guarded with sharing that knowledge, and you didn't. And I know.
Well, and I have been with certain things because there's such a finite amount of unicorn blood out there. I didn't really want to share,
Mhm.
where I was getting it from. So some things, everybody's got their things.
I mean, I remember very early on, Diane and I meeting with you and Stacy, going out and having a drink, and
That was a long time ago.
That was a long,
Yeah.
long time ago. We were at the farmers market, So
Yeah,
within
yeah,
the first
totally.
For first couple of years that we've been open. And
That was the first barbecue line I ever stood in.
Is it really?
Yeah, totally. Because Stacy and I were in Dallas. Maybe we were cooking something. I don't know why we were up there. It must have been work, I'm sure. It was like going to Pecan Lodge, doing it. And yeah, it was really fun.
Well, I remember you telling me I was cooking. I was spending the night at the restaurant,
Mhm.
waking up, working the line, and it was just Groundhog Day over and over.
Awful.
And you looked me in the eye and said, "It's not sustainable. You can't do it like that because you're going to burn out
Yeah.
in another year or two." And you're like, you've got to find somebody. You've got to share that knowledge and train. And I don't know if we hadn't had that conversation, I think I would have continued trying to do it myself.
You think
And
so?
I think I would have hit that wall easy.
Yeah. I mean, I certainly hit it. It was like, "Oof, that's tough." I mean, all of us have.
Yeah.
I mean, when you
It's
took
brutal.
over, man, like you were working it day and night. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, that's the thing that people I don't think really understand about like barbecue. And like, especially then, like now it's maybe a little different. There's a whole nother generation,
Yes.
but like, man, like the whole thing is just like working your tail off and just being like kind of old, busted and tired. Like that was almost a rite of passage in a weird way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily like that anymore. But man, we've all been there and done that and be like, man, I'm going to have a freaking brain aneurysm and fall into a fire if I don't make some changes,
Yeah. It's a difficult process. I'm that beginning stage for everybody is extremely difficult. But I wonder from your perspective now, 15 years into it, have you had other moments like that where you're like, holy shit, I'm kind of overwhelmed right now, or have you had that sense of burnout? And if you
Constantly.
did, like, how did you overcome that and kind of get past it?
Well, so, when I started doing barbecue, I didn't really have any tools in my toolbox. Like I was a touring musician, and just like, that's what I knew was bands and stuff. And then Stacy and I opened up Franklin in 2009. And again, I didn't really have any tools. But most of my learning stuff over the years has probably been from Stacy. Be like, hey, need to work on this. Hey, this one's not that important. Let's work on that. But being able to rely so heavily on her for like the business side of it kind of helped me just like have tunnel vision. I'm like, okay, food, service, do this. But along the way, I've kind of, you get more tools, and you kind of learn things and stuff. So for me, it's been more like, okay, well, I can learn how to delegate this. I can learn how to be a better manager, which I'm sure all of us have done that too.
Yeah.
But also to be able to like you can't just build a house as a house. Like you have to start with like foundation, site plan, plumbing, electrical. And before you know it, it's like, wow, I've got a house. So it's the same way as making a brisket, same way as doing anything. So for me to be able to break things out in different sections has really been most helpful. Just to be able to focus on something, constantly prioritize. I don't know, but I mean, yeah, even to this day, like I feel pretty overwhelmed by some things. Like right now we're working on an event space right around the corner from here. And I'm the construction guy. Like I'm building the countertops, I'm milling all the mahogany. I was there before this and I'll be right back there after this. So not much has really changed, except I'm just getting better at what I do.
But you want to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the
I'm doing
thing.
that
Right.
stuff.
That's
Being
the thing
busy like that seems to be something that you want, because you can
Being
certainly
busy and
choose
creative.
to take a step back from things.
Yeah. And I would
To
never
not have as many things.
that would be like, okay, sold out, I'm done, it's over, but not being involved like in the day to day, like kind of hurts my heart.
Yeah.
Like it's just, this is like, we worked so hard to build this place. Like I said, it is falling apart, but the maintenance guy sucks. But yeah, I mean, to not be involved in this stuff would really, that would not be cool
Yeah.
for me. But I do like to be busy, but I also really like to be creative. And barbecue for me is not necessarily like where I'm like really pushing the edge of like, all right, I'm gonna introduce this new thing. But where I do really enjoy the barbecue creativity is all the behind the scenes stuff, like all the details.
Yep.
And that's kind of what this place is more about. Cause we just do like on the surface, like basic, just, Central Texas barbecue. Like we've got 3 sides. We're about to add a 4th. But all the creativity and the background is the stuff. It's like, the tannins are like this, the science behind things like that.
The
That's
fine tuning.
That's the stuff I really love.
Yeah.
And we're constantly changing things here. So yeah, I do like to stay busy.
Like you're saying, the DIY is just that creative outlet. I mean, creative people need that source. Being a musician is obviously, that's, prima facie, it's very creative.
Yeah.
But, artisanship in food, I can see that makes a natural extension, but just wanting to build things. The fact that you build your own pits, you're one of the last in a line of 20th century barbecue people who built their own pits and then created the process for that pit.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way it was 20th century. Everybody had their own process. Everybody was guarded.
Oh yeah.
Even though they didn't need to be,
right?
Because
everybody had their own opinions anyway. So
right. Well, but what you've done, whether you realize it or not, is you've created a homogenization in our industry. You've created a standard equipment used for brisket cook. You've created a standard process by which they're cooked and rested. Even rub, being simple, is all being replicated in the industry. So what used to differentiate people, I think, drastically was, what are you doing with brisket? Everybody's brisket was different. Today, the similarities are it's homogenized. And so differentiation has to come through different ways. But this is a direct result of people following you, wanting to emulate success, and starting with your pit, dude, you building it out. But you don't see people doing that's everybody else has them built for them now.
Yeah.
But
back in the day, no one built them.
No.
So if you wanted one, you just had to build it.
Yes.
Manufacturers.
There was like Close, like David Close has been around since like, I don't know, 81, 82, something like that. And like Pits and Spits have been around. Like D. Wiley used to make them back in the 80s and stuff, like a bunch of like old schoolers. But then like those guys got old. And like when I was looking for pits, it's like, wow.
Well, they're really expensive too.
Oh,
you spend 15 or 20 grand on something like that.
Or more.
Yeah.
Oh, now, it's so expensive. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I used to get all those propane tanks for free.
Really?
Yeah. I had the most expensive one back there was $300.
Costs more to bring them here than it did to
I wouldn't bought a trailer. It's like, well, I'm going to go get it myself.
Yeah, but I think that, that's the lost art in our industry at this point in time. And because of that, the whys on why processes are the way they are get lost. They get washed.
Mm-hmm.
People don't understand those anymore.
Yeah.
And through enough iterations, it's completely lost. And so if there's not somebody there acting as rudder, things can go off the rails pretty quickly, especially if people don't understand the science behind what's going on. There's no way to make these adjustments.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Well, you just start to lack like nuance. Like you can't right. You can't be nimble.
Right. But then it's a compounding effect. Over time, you find yourself way off course and you don't remember how you got there.
Yeah.
And
totally true.
And the same way with, training people in the kitchen. All it takes is a small nudge the wrong direction and the trainer. Yes.
Yeah.
But, I think that what you've done is you've really instilled in people this process in this way on this piece of equipment. And it makes it so much easier for people to follow along. The downside, it demystified what we do.
Yeah, I know. That was an unintended side effect.
You stole our capes, now you made it possible for so many other people to do that. And now people don't have the desire as much. Traeger, I think pellet grills have come a long way to sort of offset that.
They really have. It's interesting. That it was definitely an unintended side effect. I think, for me, I never really meant I didn't plan on any extra, really.
Right.
But we started doing like the YouTube videos, and the YouTube videos really just started off because like back in the day, if y'all remember, I feel like this is a real East Texas thing, because it was that way when I was a kid and Brian. But like somebody would cook a brisket, is always like just junky, like just super select, not even tender, but they would like take the back of the knife and scrape the fat off,
right
Yeah.
off the
and then
top.
turn it fat side down, and then slice it paper thin because it was so stringy and tough
Yeah.
that it had to be paper thin. And it's like, okay, well, and then it's like a real like Luther's barbecue, East Texas-y kind of thing, I feel like. But that's why we made the YouTube videos, because we started selling whole briskets out of the trailer in early days of this place, and nobody knew how to cut a brisket. So I would do little sketches on butcher paper. It's like, oh, cut it like this, cutting the point and a half, which is totally a thing, from y'all's place, I've never seen anyone do that before. So we did it too. But anyway, it's like you cut it like this, start in the middle and kind of go out and kind of feather out like this. And then Stacy one day was like, man, have you heard of YouTube? We should put a video. We should make a video so I can email people how to cut a brisket. And that's how the YouTube video started, which is how the PBS show started, which was all happening about the time the book thing was happening. So it all kind of happened out of necessity, again, because I'm super utilitarian. It's like, oh, well, we got to have this, I'm going to do it. But, and then kind of teaching people just ended up being kind of an accident, because I just love talking about stuff, and I guess I know a lot about some things, that people started asking questions, and I was like, oh yeah, well, this is how you do it. Oh, and I never really thought about that too much, but maybe I shouldn't have done that.
So what was the book something that was brought to you as an idea, like, hey, you should do a book? Or is it something that you wanted to do? You're like, I want to write a book. I don't really like, how does that happen?
So David Hill Smith, whom we all know.
Yep.
He had done Daniel's book, and then I crossed paths with him. Maybe it was a Team BBQ Fest, some barbecue thing. Like he came up, it's like, hey, I'm David, blah, blah, blah. It's like, hey, I do books. Let me know if you ever want to do a book. It'd be huge. I'm like, I'm pretty busy cooking ribs right now. Like,
Right.
I'm getting to work at midnight and leaving at 10 p.m. Like, I'm got no time for a book right now. And then many, many years went by, and we kept kind of crossing paths, and we'd like get a beer. Like I'd be up in Dallas, like, hey, what are you doing? He's like, oh, let's go get a whiskey. And, became a friend. And then one day, it was before the smokehouse, so it would have been like 2012, 2013 maybe, when all the trailers were out in the backyard out there. I was wrapping ribs like 6 a.m. I was like, man, feeling pretty good about the restaurant. It's busy, like things are humming right along. It's like wrapping ribs, and it's like, man, a book. It's gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I called him later, and I was like, hey, I think I want to do a book. It's like, great, let's do it. And that's pretty much how it happened. I just kind of thought it was a cool idea. And that was also, so actually the summer that we were writing the book, we were also building the first smokehouse. Oh, that burned down. Framed smokehouse of wood. Stupid. Still framed in wood. But 2014, we had a newborn baby. I was writing the book, cooking ribs at midnight, really 12:18 every morning, and filming the show all in the same summer, and kind of like loosely GCing the smokehouse.
Ooh. So how
That was a
long,
doozy of a summer.
how long did that period of time with your foot on the gas that hard last? Because we are just talking about how it's not sustainable. So how long did you keep that up?
I kept it up for 2016. So 7 years. Yeah. I mean, all this stuff like an hour and a half a night. Like it was brutal. I mean, we've all certainly been there. Just like, time to make the donuts. But yeah, the real kicker was, and we were already in the smokehouse, and it was like cooking ribs, cutting every lunch, or as many as possible. Starting to kind of back out of the service kind of stuff, but maybe more like working the overnights, because had to be as good as we wanted it to be, and then Viv was kind of getting to the age where I realized that like I never saw her. Like she was asleep when I left, and she was asleep when I got home. And it's like, and like I just didn't have a real, and of course it was really hard on Stacy too. I mean, those were those were probably the hardest times we've ever had, as like kiddo, restaurant, like a huge baby that can't wipe or feed itself, and then kiddo. And then when I realized that Viv kind of like, maybe I felt like she didn't really know who I was. And that was heartbreaking. I was like, okay, this business is not worth it. And I'd known that it was unsustainable, but I just like, definitely a control freak, but also just like, no, like these ribs have to taste like this. This brisket has to be like this. I want it sliced just like this. And I just couldn't get anyone else to see that level of detail. And eventually I was like, well, it just doesn't really matter, because if I have a heart attack and my kid doesn't know who I am, what is the point anyway? Like, this is not worth it. So that was really when I started like training another rib person. And then for years, like I wouldn't cross train anyone. Like this place, like only one person in this entire establishment knew how to do everything, and it was me. So if I got sick, if I'd gotten in a car wreck, if, whatever happened, this place could not function. It would not open unless I was here. So I couldn't get sick. And I didn't get sick for 7 years because I couldn't. But, like we finally started to cross train, and like before that, like no one person knew how to do an entire rib cook. No one person knew how to do an entire brisket cook. They knew how to do the back half. They knew how to do the front half. They knew how to do the middle, but they didn't know everything. And I guess that was my level of being like overly protective. We were like, no, this is the magic. The magic is in the hands, like whoever's doing it, that's the magic. But it was kind of at that point, it's like, okay, we obviously need to cross train. Like we have a lot of really awesome, passionate people. We've got a ton of people that have been here over 10 years at this point, like people be sticking around. And that's really cool. So I started to kind of, train people, like kind of let go a little bit. And boy, am I glad I did. I mean, my quality of life is just so much better than it ever had been back in those days. But yeah, it was one of the hardest things that I ever had to do for the good of the business. Because obviously it's not sustainable,
You said that was like 2016, 2017?
About 2016, yeah. Because in 2017 we had a fire. And I remember that was the first time we ever went on vacation while the restaurant was open. And the last thing I said was like, hey guys, y'all got this. Everybody's kind of worried. I was definitely worried. Like, it's going to be fine. I'm fine. You're fine. We're fine. But don't call me unless the place is on fire.
Are you serious? That's literally how it happened.
Yeah, we flew back on the morning of the 17th of August 26th. That's when it was. We flew back in town. We were up in Maine, doing a little road trip through like Montreal and stuff like that. We got back. Hurricane Harvey was blowing through that morning. So wind was crazy. The flight was crazy. We're lucky we got back, and got to the airport. Kiddos sleeping in the car. We stopped and got tacos and ate on the hood of the car. Like got home at midnight, like 6:40 something a.m. Like, like, yes, building's on fire. I was like, oh man, I'm glad I'm in town, but dang it, come on.
Well, that's like your story, right?
Yeah.
Finding out your place is on fire through social media.
It was Labor Day weekend. I was in Abilene hunting with Henry, and literally out in the field, and I started getting text messages. Are you okay? What's going on? And then I pull up Twitter, and it's just, you see the fire trucks.
Holy moly.
It was just like, and it was the same situation. It's like the first time I've been able to get away and try to disconnect from this. And it's, like, holy cow, how could it happen? How could that happen?
So had your foot come off the gas in that short amount of time, I guess, before the fire?
Yeah, and it did. And that's what allowed us to, you're like, okay, gonna test the waters. We're taking a vacation. The Franklin family's going, on a road trip. And so it'd probably been taking a year or two before that to kind of like gradually like work my way out, like, get everybody else up to speed and stuff. But, restaurants are kind of weird and finicky and always an emotional roller coaster. So it's like right when I felt good about it, it's like something would happen. It's like, I'm back in it. and then like start to back out a little bit, like, I'm back in it, you know, and it's like up and down for the longest time. But really, I mean, now I haven't cooked a real shift back there in years, but I'm here every day.
So the fire, what was your mindset when it happened? Because what I recall is that you seemed really calm about it. You were just like, you know what, this sucks, but we're going to be fine. We're just going to pick up and go. I mean, was that a moment where were you freaking out, or were you just like,
That's the
we're going to be
thing.
okay?
I never freaked out about it. Like I got the call and I was like, okay. And I kind of like sat up in bed, you know, and of course, you know, you get up like so early that like, you know, the night before you set up your shoes, you put your socks, like while it's on the, you know, like everything's in place. You just wake up like, I gotta go, Prince. And you're like out the door, keys already in the ignition. Yeah, so like I kind of, everything was there and just kind of like sat at the end of the bed. It was like, collected my thoughts a little bit. It was pretty calm, knowing the restaurant's like on fire. There's like, you know, 20 fire trucks around here. I mean, it only burned for 28 minutes. I mean, I think 9 fire department or 9 stations serviced this fire. Like they were, you know, they were on it. But like went and sat on the couch and put on my shoes, like kind of get my ducks in a row. I was like, okay, I'm going to go up there. And then BBC World Radio was on. You know, just chugging up, you know, in the truck. And I was really calm about it. I mean, I'm such a planner. I had really worked out of my head, like, because it's inevitable. I mean, it's gonna happen. Like, we deal with a lot of fire. It's bound to happen eventually. I know y'all's places have y'all ever had a fire?
We did. It wasn't bad. It was contained, but it was in our 1,000-gallon pit. There was a creosote fire and in Greece. It didn't get drained, you know, just a couple things.
Yeah.
Did have to call the fire department. It wouldn't go out, but it wasn't. It didn't really create any damage.
Pretty
it was
dang
it was
scary.
freaky though. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was super scary.
Well, so it's bound to happen to all of us.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, we just what we do. So I kind of worked out in my head. It's like, okay, when this happens, this is the plan. So I already had a plan in my head. I hadn't shared this with anyone, but that's how I was so calm about it. It's like, okay, do this and do this. I built the place. I know about construction. I know how to build it back. And within a few hours, I mean, I was already at Home Depot, but like the staff, like, you know, was like, people were showing up, people on the streets just crying about the loss of this barbecue place, whatever. And it was like, it's fine, guys. No big deal. It's just a building. Fine. No one got hurt. And then the briskets were already in the warmers up here. So all the firemen took the brisket to like, here, take this back to the station. They're fine. At least we didn't, you know, at least we were able to use that stuff. But I don't know. I mean, I'm usually pretty calm and collected under pressure.
Well, I mean, that's a moment to shine as a leader. And, you know, I never set out to be a leader. I never thought that in everything that I was going to do.
I sure didn't either.
I was going to be put in a position where people, you know, something happens and everyone looks at you and you have to be like, you know, I've faked it so many times. You just got to be like, okay, you know, what you decide to do may or may not be the right thing, but you know, you got to do something. And, you know, all of our businesses have grown in a way that I don't think any of us anticipated. And that was the one part of it that I just never saw coming, of being like, oh, I have to figure out how to be a leader.
I got to be a real dad.
How to manage this stuff. I've got to figure out how to, you know, people depend on us to guide and steer the ship. How is that, you know, what's that process been from a leadership role? Who do you look up to as a leader? I mean, I think people will look up at sports figures, right? Like coaches or business people, politicians, family members, or just other people in the industry. Like, as you were coming into your role as a leader, is there anyone who you thought was like, oh, I really like what they're doing and that resonated with you?
Yeah. I mean, I think, you know, me backing out, I think that was also part of the process. It's like, oh, like I went from, you know, just Stacy and I doing a little trailer, and, you know, as we got bigger, you know, and had more employees and had more things and a lot more spotlight on us, you know, also never anticipated that. Like, I never really thought about like, I'm not a good manager. I'm a terrible employee. That's why I had to start my own thing. Like, I'm not good at that stuff. I don't have a natural, talent for necessarily being a leader. But I kind of had to start figuring it out, and it was like, okay, well, I can't help people that work at this restaurant if I'm cooking ribs at midnight by myself.
Mhm.
That was kind of the first part of it. Along with the kid not knowing who it was. I wish she was like 2 or 3, but anyway. But I kind of, I had to learn that stuff, same as all of us,
Yeah.
and I think the real person that I looked up to and still look up to is Stacy. Like, she's so level-headed, so just like, okay, that's wrong. Did a pretty good job there, but you can do better. She's like real matter of fact. But I think I've taken all my nods from her, really. And then, the more people that I don't really pay attention to much stuff, in sportsies or anything. But a lot of like restaurant people that I've had the privilege to work with or like get to know, I'm like, oh, I really like how that guy acts around people. Like that guy, and it could be like a Danny Meyer, like which we all look up to, of course,
Yeah.
but kind of like seeing people like him be like, oh, and I think also in the early days, like I came in like a lot hotter than I do now. I was also in my early 30s, like, let me at him. Would come in really, really hot because I just didn't have the skills to manage people. Like, and I remember some of my not finest moments, just getting so frustrated with people, here, like, no, that's not how I showed you how to do it. Like, and it was partially me maybe not giving them all the details. Like just assuming that people just know the same things I know.
Right.
And then when I finally realized that not everybody knows what's going on in my head, I was like, oh, that's why when I showed you how to do this, you did it completely backwards. Like it's, it was partially on them too, but, and that's kind of when I was like, I need to figure out a much better way to like be nicer. and I've always been a nice person. But when you sleep an hour and a half and you're getting to work at midnight, and you're just by yourself all the time, and somebody comes in and does something super wrong or messes up like a thing that you just spent 6 hours working on, it's like, it's really hard to not get frustrated in those situations. But I think that was about the time I was like, okay, this is not who I want to be. I don't want people to think of like, man, that guy's a jerk. Like that's the last thing I ever want. So I kind of started really, I think, realizing that I needed skills, like more managery kind of skills, and to be a better leader. But really, I've always looked towards Stacy, and I always looked to her for those things. And I think that's kind of what got me down that path initially.
Yeah. Same.
I'm still not a great leader.
Well,
Much better doer.
We have a certain bond that nobody else, I think, really has.
Yeah.
My family has not been the kindest to you.
Oh, now it gets interesting.
And I have to say, it has always pained me deeply, just to hear things that I would hear. And it's just like, you gotta fucking be kidding me. He did what? Oh my God. Yeah. So, just, you could write a book probably on just the interactions that you might have had with John or Leanne over the years. And it would be salacious, to say the least.
Yeah.
And
that's fine.
Yeah, but from my perspective, it is family, and they're not just doing it to you; they're doing it to me too. And it was just a struggle. And when Dad passed, which was completely unexpected, I really thought I had 15, 20 more years with him, which was a big part of the reason for me coming back. I had 18 months, and then I'm just sort of thrust in the next day.
Yeah,
and it's just
I remember
like,
when you got
shit.
thrown into that, I was like, whoa, wow, that's
intense.
intense.
It was intense.
Yeah.
It really was. And so like you and like everyone here, you deal with the pressures of the moment the best that you can, right? You navigate the ship the best that you can, and you learn on the fly. and you make some mistakes,
Figure
you
it out.
fall down, you have no choice.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, for me, it was the same thing. And then in 13, I had my fire. And again, it was delegating to someone else and their lack of respect for what fire can do. Yeah, it can do some damage. Like you, I did have a plan. Wasn't a long-term plan, but it helped. It allows us to stay open
Yeah.
during that downtime, because trying to find a mason who could rebuild the pit was more difficult than you might think.
Yeah.
So yeah, it feels like one long day since Dad's passing, to be honest with you, because I didn't have the transition that I think that all of you had. I was working that direction. I never planned on being the front person. It was all going to be, Dad was going to be the Dave Thomas, right?
Right.
That you're going to be the face of all of this, and that's going to be easy, right? It's my job to create that persona. That's what I do. So I'm much more, Paul, I'm much more comfortable on that side of the camera than I am on this side. So taking on that lead, and then having to just honestly fight with my mother about so many things.
Really?
It's some of those behind the scene things that we all discussed, this direction, but it never makes it out into, a public presence. But yeah, those were difficult things. And you try to step back away from it, and you look at it and you go, Jesus Christ, we're another Central Texas barbecue family blowing ourselves apart.
Oh, yeah.
Just like all the rest of it. Yeah, no shit. and it's just ridiculous. And had I known, and I was telling these guys earlier today, I was like, had I known the toll and the cost, I probably wouldn't have done it this way.
Yeah.
I would have tried to help my father in a different direction. I don't know that I would have come back. The toll was too high. And like your daughter, you're feeling like, I don't know her. She doesn't know me. And Jesus Christ, that's just untenable.
Yeah. This is not good.
I'm trying to split time between Taylor and Houston, and the same thing's going on. And it's the one huge regret I have in life is trying to placate two promises, one to my father and one to my daughter, and just feeling like I just fucked it all up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I would do that again. I would look at it and go, Dad, we got to figure something else out here.
Got to make a different plan.
Yes, because this isn't going to work. It's not. The downside was too heavy should he not be there anymore. He was about the only thing that kept everyone at bay from killing each other.
Yeah.
And that's too crucial of a linchpin. And when it goes. And what happened, it happened. And the result is just the destruction that came from the Zions of the name. Really just, they went on a burn, pillage, just destroy anything in the path. And man, seriously, I am so sorry at some of the things that I heard, because that is some fucked up shit that I would hear that John would do, man. And
oh man,
and I was just like,
you're like, I don't know.
You handled all that, at least publicly, so very well. You just didn't get involved. And I've always been
drama is so not my thing. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Boy, I want nothing to do with any of that kind of stuff.
From my perspective, I was always so appreciative of the fact that, you could have just dragged it all, and it would have been totally justified in doing it. And I understand, but other people would have.
Yeah. Other people maybe would have. But everybody's different and stuff. And some people are just a little crankier than others.
That's one way to put it. God, some people are more criminal than others too. But yeah, so thank you for not holding that against me.
Yeah. I certainly do not.
Yeah. I've always thought highly of you. And I hope that my sentiments to you over the years have reflected that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Justin,
what's up?
Now that we transitioned out of that, escaped all landmines.
Yeah. Well, you guys got started about the same time. I mean, you and Diane pulling Lurleen around.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking about the timing of that, and it was probably we moved to Asheville in 2018, and probably about a year and a half, 2 years is really when the burnout kind of started setting in for us. And it was a lot of it was just the number of events, you know, and the requests and just like,
well, y'all had some life
overwhelming,
stuff
like,
going on too.
all of that stuff. Yeah. But I remember Henry was about 6 years old, and we, at the time, we thought we had done it right, you know, because he was in the restaurant with us, you know. So the idea was,
I remember at the original place, you guys had like the crib set, and like the pack and play, and
pack
office,
and play, and you know, he'd come to the farmer's market and would, you know, he'd take his naps and then go wander around and you know, all that kind of stuff. And we thought, man, this is great. You know, we've got the family together. We're all in this together. You know, we're not separated from him or whatever like that. But he was 6 or 7 when we were driving around, and all of a sudden, you know, from the back seat, I hear, "Do we have to talk about barbecue anymore?" And Diane and I looked at each other, and it was like literally every conversation we had, you know, it was work in the car on the way to work, on the car coming back home.
Our kid tells us
when
that
we
a
got
lot.
home at dinner, you know, and it's like, and it just hit me. I'm like, man, you know. And so he has like a love-hate relationship with the restaurant, you know. I mean, he's very proud of it. He loves to bring his friends and stuff like that, but he's never shown any desire to actually be a part of the process or really anything like that. And I haven't pushed him in that direction because I feel guilty for, you know, putting that.
Well, you don't want to force
anything. At the beginning, you know. But family, it's a big driver, you know, and it's you don't always get the balance right. You know, very hard to.
Well, I think it's safe to say we're all just winging it.
You just got to take things as they come, you know. I mean, you can't really control that.
There's just a level of accepting how consuming it is just to survive that you just deal with it. I mean, dude, not sleeping, like literally the schedule that you're talking about doing, I mean, that's just psycho, man. It's just,
I don't know how people pull that off. Like that's insane.
Well, you did. You pulled it off. You're doing. I mean, are you a person that just doesn't need much sleep anyway? Or?
I don't need much sleep, and I sleep a good 6 hours a night. I'm good. I mean, but I think it's like an age thing too. It's like if you think about like an athlete or a musician or somebody starting a restaurant, like there's a certain age range, like before you have a family necessarily, but like before like life is really starting to weigh down and like responsibilities and stuff. It's like you can just like go for it and like be creative, like work your tail off. But that's kind of what people that have the stamina, a younger person can actually pull off. And then of course it catches up and you're like, boom,
it does.
Oh my God, my knees are
does.
You know, oh my God.
And I was at that point, I was like, oh, well, the kids are really young and they won't remember this part about me not being here. You know, and finding out now that's not necessarily true, but I just feel like at this point, you know, at 15 and 17, almost 18, that this is a pretty huge moment to prioritize like where I am and what I'm doing and being present, because I mean, man, it's over so fast. Like, I cannot believe that I have a senior in high school and this is it. It's already like, I just have to keep lying to myself about like, oh no, it's fine. It's cool. And it just starts getting faster and faster and faster. And he's going to be gone next year, probably off to school. And, you know, it's going to be, as my daughter has said repeatedly, like they're really close. She's like, when he leaves, it's going to be the worst day of my life. And I feel the same way. And I just won't look at it. I just keep putting my head in my sand and like, I can't face it, but it's coming. And so even though it's not ideal right now, you know, having to split time between 2 different states and run a business that's continued to grow, thankfully, and thrive and be at a place where, you know, I'm the most proud of what we're doing right now. Finally, like we're still trying to get better. That's still most important right now, to be present for my family. And I'm fortunate that the hard work has allowed that to happen. And so I'm I'm just jumping in, and that's what we got to do.
It's doing the thing.
Got to do the thing.
Yeah. Let's talk about barbecue. Well, you mentioned that, this many years into it and splitting your time and stuff that you're, Stanley's is super great. It's where it is. And I would say the same thing for this place. Like, I don't even cook shifts anymore. And I think our food's better than it's ever been. Like, it's more consistent. Like, there's this thing that seems to happen in a restaurant after like 10, 15 plus years where you just get really good at it.
Yeah.
Like, we were never this consistent back when I was cooking every day. I mean, like, I knew exactly, like, things were painfully consistent, but I just didn't have, like a decade plus of like data that I'd collected. And I'm like, oh, well, the weather's a little bit like this. Oh, well, let's do this. So like, just the bag of tricks has gotten so huge.
I saw a video the other day. You were doing a tour of Franklin Barbecue, and there was a.
Oh, was it Kevin's barbecue joints?
It might have been. I
Maybe.
think it might have been. And the behind the scenes stuff was a bunch of new things I hadn't seen.
It's
And
always.
it was fascinating to me. And then we were listening to what was the name of the podcast we were listening to the other day that Darren was on, the chef and the skater.
That one. Yeah.
Anyway, they were talking
Not
about
a damn chance.
Not a damn chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were talking about the vertical integration, and what the work you had done there. And it's interesting to me because, being here in the dining room, the image of
Hadn't
Franklin's
changed a lot.
Barbecue that's projected to the world is the same. If you'd come here 10 years ago
Yeah.
and you came back, this is what you see. But your
It's
effort
totally
behind
true.
the scenes to fine tune the cooking process and to get the economies of scale and to do the vertical integration is a very smart way to handle it, to scale behind the scenes so that you didn't lose the magic of this.
Yeah. Well, and that's also kind of where my creativity gets to have fun. It's like, oh, well, we could do this, or like, as long as this looks the same, we can just make the food better.
What do you think is more important, carries more weight? Is it the process that you developed, or is it the people who implement the process?
It's the people, 100%.
Yeah.
Because the process, is pretty, seasoned meat, cooked meat, sliced meat.
Well, but even including the nuance of the process. Now, understandably, that comes with experience of the individual, but it's still part of the process. It's still something that you would teach them, whether they catch on immediately or it takes several iterations for them to finally the light to go on. Is that process, if you had the right person, I guess, unknowing, can they walk in? Can you show them, and can they just take off with it? Or do you have to nurse them too? Do you have to bring them along slowly?
We nurse people. It usually takes somebody about 3 years before they start getting good at it.
Yeah.
Back there. But I think I would much rather build a new restaurant with the same people than keep the same restaurant with all new people.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like
100%.
it's really the people and how much they care and how well they get along and how much they care for each other and what they're doing and how passionate they are about it. Like if we took, the 11 cooks that are back there, if we took all those guys out, this place would just fail immediately. Like, there's no way. And we couldn't necessarily hire people because then you're just like, you're fixing bad habits.
Yep.
Like, you're doing all this stuff.
Oh, it's so true. So you don't like to hire people who've had previous commercial experience?
I sure try not to.
Or cook-off experience either?
It depends on the person.
Yeah.
Like, really, I tend to hire people that obviously have good work ethic or honest or kind. Like, there's like a few like huge boxes that we have to check off. And then if somebody's got like a little bit of barbecue experience at another place, sometimes I'll be like, oh yeah, like you're a good person. Like, you'll fit in.
Right.
And they'll really just
They can take
be part
instruction
of the family
and
They-
incorporate it.
yeah, they can totally like,
And they
smart,
care.
all the things. And it's really about caring. Like, if they
It's all
just,
about
like,
care, right? I mean,
but
you
then-
can't teach it.
yeah, but if it's like somebody that's coming in, maybe a little cocky, like, oh yeah, I worked here. I worked there for 3 days and I know everything. It's like, nope, you're not the right person for us.
Yeah,
It's
right,
always a red flag for us if somebody
Absolutely.
comes in, with experience, or somebody wants to come in.
Yeah, I don't want your
specifically to work in
experience.
the pit room.
I want your work ethic.
Yeah, we've never hired anybody specifically to work in the pit room. They've always come into the kitchen, and we watched him work there before.
Yeah. Before you let him.
We're like, you,
Yeah.
I think you can do this.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah. Definitely all about the people.
You're sort of a torchbearer at this point, right? And I often wonder how you view that, your sort of status and moving forward. Some people see you as a traditionalist, a purist. Other people see you as pushing envelopes and development, especially with your other concepts, right? How do you want to be remembered? How do you want people to think about you 50 years from now?
You know, I've thought about this a lot. And one of like, I think my North Star in life has always been, what do I want to look back on one day? Like about myself, like, do I want to look back and be like, oh man, like, you know, made all this money, did this, but I was kind of mean to a couple people. Like that doesn't feel good. Like I want to, if I'm making a decision on like what to do in life, you know, like if it's to open a restaurant or, you know, philanthropy or whatever, it's like the question that I always ask myself is like, what do I want to look back on when I'm old? You know, and if it's something that I think I'm going to look back on and be like, yeah, that was a cool move, or like be proud of, then I'll do it. And if it's something that I'm like, that doesn't fit, I was like, then it's just not for me. But I think really at the end of the day, I would like for people to think of me as just being a nice, kind person, and really not much more than that.
Yeah,
Like,
but you know, but people are going to label you,
yeah, they're gonna,
right? And they're going to see you in a certain light. And it's up to you to a great degree to craft what that looks like and what that presence is.
yeah,
And so they're always going to associate you with this sort of Mount Rushmore barbecue
like
figure.
barbecue thing.
Yes. How about that for you? Is that what you want to be remembered as?
No, I don't think so. I mean, yeah, that's great, and I'm certainly proud of all the barbecue stuff. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I've just been so incredibly lucky and blessed with everything. But I think for me to kind of be like, you're just like, oh, he's just a barbecue guy. Like, I'm not just a barbecue guy. Like,
No.
I weld things, I build things, I love architecture, do other restaurants, I cook, you know, like I do a lot of carpentry. Like, you know, I like to build things. And I think, you know, and also like to help people. And also, you know, there's a lot of things that I'm into. So I really don't know. I think if I was just thought of as just a barbecue guy, I'd be like, oh, yeah, that's one of many things
Mhm.
that I'm really passionate about. But I don't think it defines me as a person. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think really at the end of it, just being a nice guy, like somebody that like, man, he's a really nice and cool dude. What the heck did he even do?
And I love that you brought that around, because the whole point of starting this with the list of all the stuff was like, hey, this is how you're kind of seen, but I know that you're more than that. Like I've always thought, yeah, you're an incredibly nice guy. And that was kind of
Don't get on my bad side, buddy.
that was kind of going to be the follow-up though, is like, well, you know, if someone you're meeting for the first time who has no clue about any of that, like, who do you say, like, if they're like, so what do you do? You know, like,
You know what my response always is, and I love it when this happens. You're like, oh yeah, so what do you do? I'm like, I just work in restaurants.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
Cool.
cool. Like, were you a server? Like, are you a cook? I'm like, yeah, kind of maintenance guy.
Yeah.
You know, like I always downplay it pretty
Yeah.
pretty hardcore, you know. And then, you know, a couple seconds later, they'll be like, you know, and then it gets weird. But yeah, usually like, what do I do? I'm just like, I just kind of dabble with all things dabbleable. You know, I'm a tinkerer, and I
Right.
like to just do rando stuff. Like I run a festival, like I do so many different things, like, you know. But yeah, you're like, what do you do? Oh, I just work in restaurants.
You've had some really great collaborations, man, with the festival and the two other restaurants. You know, I love the crossover into music with Hot Luck and everything that's happening there. Like, how do these collaborations and these ideas come about? I mean, I'm sure it's just like anything. You're sitting around having a beer with your buddy. Like,
Yeah, pretty
"Maybe we
much.
should," you know?
Yeah, I mean, Hot Luck started because I had the idea that Austin just needed a really fun, like, lighthearted food festival. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, just to showcase our local culinary scene here, but also what was happening with chefs and restaurants like around the country and around the world, like a certain window of time where things were just like new and fresh and like early days. Like we've all benefited from this, but like, you know, the interwebs, you know,
Yeah.
like social media and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
that kind of was happening in areas besides barbecue also. But I kind of felt like Austin needed just like a fun festival that was not a barbecue thing, but had some barbecue, had bands and stuff. And that was off the heels of Fun Fest also, that went on for 10 years. It was a music festival. So, I mean, really just hollered at friends, you know, like Feast Portland, you know, hollered at Mike Thielen that ran Feast Portland, which I cooked at every year. It was an excellent food festival. And then hollered at my friend Moody, which ran Fun and owns Mohawk and all that stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, got this idea, you know. So most of them just kind of start with like a thought or an idea. Uptown was a little bit different. We sort of accidentally ended up with this really cool old building from the 1800s. We're like, oh man. And I looked at it for Franklin Barbecue, like, you know, and kind of it happened. It's like, oh,
It's really great, man.
what should we do with this building?
Yeah.
It's like, well, you know, gumbo's my liquid brisket. I mean, that was really the kind of stuff I grew up cooking, you know, before barbecue. So we just kind of did that, opened up a bar, and Loro happened from the Uchi guys, you know, had this thought a long time ago to do an Asian smokehouse. Talked to him about it, God, probably 5, 6, 7, 8 years before it actually opened, before Loro started. And I was like, I'm pretty busy, but I'll let you pick my brain all you want, just kind of being friendly and stuff. And then we did a dinner up in Dallas, a ramen thing, and it was really fun. And things were getting a little easier here about that same time. They were like, hey, you know, we're still working on this, but it's kind of dead in the water. It's like, oh, this time it could actually work out really fun. This sounds like fun. So it's all an effort just to like do fun things, really.
Right.
You know,
Just keep it fresh.
and I think the collaborative nature of things is just by really a lot of nice people being around.
Do you think you would have done any of those things without the collaboration, that you would have the bandwidth to
No way.
do that, or the desire to go do another place on your own?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, we're opening up an event space right now, right around the corner, and it'll be Franklin events. Like here we do parties of 75 or less. There we'll do parties of 75 or more, but it's a full bar. And that one is the first like real project that Stacy and I have done solo.
Okay.
Without like, I mean, we've got like friends helping out and,
Sure.
and doing some
Sure.
stuff. But yeah, but it's so exciting. Like it's like the OG Franklin BBQ days.
Yeah.
Like, all right, we're building everything ourselves. And that feels really good, but that's totally within our bandwidth.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just an extension of this. But doing something totally different, probably, because you got such a finite amount of magic. For everything I start, at least, it takes a little bit away from everything else. Like I've only got so much.
Yep.
And eventually I need to trim the fat and
Mhm.
do the things I really want to do and stop doing the things that are maybe too much work or don't pay off, you know?
If we can touch on Texas Monthly for a second.
Yeah. It happens 12 times a year.
You know, they have been such a catalyst for our industry, and they've done so many wonderful things for us. You know,
Absolutely.
they've done so many wonderful things for you. And the list has just become this thing bigger than the magazine itself. I
Yeah,
think.
it's crazy. I think the barbecue issue probably floats the rest of the.
I think it's been doing that for
You're
a
right,
while.
Yeah.
And I think more acutely now as time progresses, even though peak barbecue, I think, was 8-10 years ago.
I'd agree with that.
What do you think about your position, being a former number one, now being out of the top 10? What do you?
Are we?
Where's it?
I hadn't looked at the issue.
Well, the reason I
No.
Blinders on.
the reason I
Like I
ask that,
said.
because Snows is in the same boat,
Yeah.
right? And it's like, okay, well, what has changed?
Are any of us in the top 10?
No.
Okay.
No. So what do you think has changed? Why, if it's consistent or more consistent now
Yeah.
than you were then, what is changing such that this list would change that dramatically?
Well, I think it has everything to do with the fact that, and all of us are probably more consistent and probably better than we've ever been. But it's not new anymore. Like we've been doing it for 15, 20 years. And it's just not new. Like we were new 10, 15 years ago, and that was really exciting, and same thing with us. Like, it's not new anymore. And I think that now there's a newer generation. I mean, obviously we're the old guys, but there's a newer generation that have brought back in, like other cuisines and like all the stuff that's kind of going on, which is awesome. But yeah, we're just not new and shiny anymore.
Right.
But I do think that a lot of those places, like Snow's and like a lot of these really iconic spots, I don't feel like they should be in the top 50 outside the top 10, just anywhere random. Like, I think that there's a space where you have like a Hall of Fame kind of situation, and I feel like, and I don't write magazines, so I'm not the guy, but I feel like, top 10 is always like your new kind of hot stuff, and it's like whatever's going on there. And I honestly haven't looked at the magazine. I know Evan and Ernest are in the top 2 spots, and I 100% support them both. Like they're freaking great guys and freaking great restaurants.
Right.
No doubt. But, I think there's like they do it for the American Royal stuff. Like it's the Hall of Fame, and I feel like that would be sort of a natural kind of progression for that. But I don't know. I mean, what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, we question, and I think the big question amongst just purveyors out there is what criteria are they basing this on? And just like you said, we're not new news. And I agree 100%. Yeah. Old news doesn't sell new editions.
Yeah.
Right. So how much influence do you think bringing in something new has on a list criteria? Or is this completely subjective outside any hardcore criteria that everybody's judged on in the same manner? Because I think I've seen over time, this list criteria has evolved. It's not, I don't think it's the same criteria they were using in 97.
No.
Or 03 or 08 or 13. I think there's been an evolution.
Way, I don't know how many people can rattle off 1997 as one of the Texas Monthly Barbecue issues. Yeah. Like right off here, like 1997.
Well,
that's a good one.
But you know what I'm saying?
You guys were on the cover of that.
Were we on the cover?
I think there's a big picture of Lou Miller in the 97 issue. Anywho.
Yeah. That might have been that dining room shot.
Yeah.
But
anywho, yeah.
Right. I think that the criteria has certainly evolved, and I think people lose their minds. How many people start in this business just because they want to be on the list? It's ridiculous. That's your motivation. To me, it's a completely wrong motivation.
Yeah.
But it drives so many people. And the fact that they don't know what that is. I mean, you would know what it is for Michelin, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what it is for Beard, but you don't know what it is for Texas Monthly.
Yeah.
I think they're having, I see this turmoil.
I think a bunch of us thought we knew what it was.
Right. But therein lies the turmoil. I think that you have a publication who's putting out a list, and this ultimate goal of the publication is still to make money and to drive subscriptions and ad sales. And old news doesn't do that. So how much of that influence do you think plays into this? And then, so what does that do to the validity of the list? And does the list, should it matter as much as it does?
I don't really like lists very much because, and this is, I've been saying this for years, and like we've been so lucky to be on a ton of lists, and don't disregard any of that. Like that's been huge for us. I mean, that's why we're all still here.
Of course.
Because we've been on lists.
Yep.
Yes.
And they're giant, especially for a small mom and pop business. It's really big stuff. But the thing I don't like about lists is that when you do have a list, that means that someone has to look bad. Like who's number one? Oh, well, if you're not number one, then you're a loser. You know, like
Oh,
I
yeah.
just don't like. I like general lists. You're like, these are like the best ones that we could find, like open ended. I mean, and I know that's not
ranked,
realistic.
but like, if you
Yeah.
want to go, here's what you
On
go.
any given day,
Yeah.
this
Place
group,
100% deliver.
yes,
You know, and it'll be excellent.
yes,
But I think the criteria for these lists, obviously they have to make money. The magazine has to make money. It's, you know, it's got to be exciting. But, you know, with social media and stuff, it's damn near impossible. Like Daniel used to drive around and like, you know, I'm sure he would keep something a secret so he could have a reveal, you know, or like,
Right.
but you can't do that with a magazine anymore because everybody's out there and
Right.
there's no secrets anymore, you know?
right.
So I think like having that list out, you know, but I don't know what the criteria is because I don't think it necessarily involves the same criteria that I would do. Like if I was
Right.
going to judge a place, and barbecue place, restaurant, video store, like whatever, like any business, I'm going to look to
There's
see.
still video stores.
Yeah, there's like two. One's better than the other. I'm not going to say which one. You know, but if, you know, if I'm going to rate restaurants, like I'm going to go through the quality of the food, the consistency of the food, the overall experience, the friendliness, the quality of the ingredients, how well maintained the parking lot is, what the lighting looks like.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to look at all aspects of this. Like, is it a value? Is it not a value? Like, is it easy to get to? Is it whatever? Are their bathrooms dirty? You know, like, is there dust on the AC ducts? Like, I'm looking for the details, you know? Whereas I'm not sure, and I honestly haven't looked at the top 10 list, but I'm not sure that that's the same criteria that they're going by, you
Right.
know, but which is harder to do because like, I mean, I would imagine that if you're going to look at a place like, oh man, this is really good. Gosh, this place is kind of a shit show. If they get number one, they're not going to be able to handle it. So then you have to pick a place probably that could actually handle that much business.
But the,
You
but
know,
the question is like, is there integrity in that? Because if
But
but
there's
this place
not.
has the best brisket,
Right.
right?
then
But-
it's the
but-
best.
But you went and the bathrooms were dirty and they were out of your favorite soft drink, you know, and they don't have the staff to handle it. So we're not going to put them at one.
But it's
Yeah.
just not, is this a list like, is this the best brisket or is this the best barbecue restaurant?
That see,
Sure.
and I don't even wonder if it should be
And I don't know what it is.
restaurant. I feel like the
Well, I mean,
your restaurant is very broad. I feel like it should be in narrow. Like this is the best brisket.
No,
This
maybe
was the
so.
best-
Maybe you're right.
The spare, you know, best pork ribs, best sausage.
Yeah.
You know, and then there could be more details. Of, you know, I think there's a different way to organize. The
Yeah. I think
the-
there's a
the-
different way to organize it. And I don't know what that way is, you know, because I think the parameters are so wide and there's so many, you know, opinions, and especially with barbecue and some other foods, like nostalgia plays such a huge role. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, well, these ribs are terrible. I like them like this because I grew up in this region.
that's
like
so true.
it's all so subjective,
Yeah.
you know, and all four of our places taste completely different. It's because that's what we like.
Mhm.
That's how we like to
Mhm.
cook, right?
Right.
But I think, you know, unless it's something that's like, you know, that's just never been done before and it's like groundbreaking on so many levels, like that could be a number one, number two kind of spot. And you're just like, wow, how did they reinvent the cow?
Right.
You know? But I don't know. I mean, I think Texas Monthly probably does the best they can with a number of people. And I think they probably have enough like kind of like checks in place
Mhm.
for who is number one or number two or top 10 or whatever. And I don't know what the criteria is, but it seems really impossible to rate barbecue joints when you have so much variable going on. It's not just a barbecue joint. Is it Central Texas? Is it East Texas? Like there's just so much stuff
Mhm.
going on. Like
Well, and how this has evolved over time with the
it's just
fusion
getting bigger and
with-
bigger and
with-
bigger.
with all the other cuisines and stuff like that. It's a completely different thing.
Yeah. And that's why I think it should be a barbecue restaurant
Right.
because there's just the parameters are so wide.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when we were on the list, one of the things that they talked about was, you know, it's not just the meat, but the sides are really good.
Mhm.
Well, we've got the same meat and more or less the same sides, but now all of a sudden it's like, well, that's not good enough.
It's not good enough
for the sides just to be good and not an afterthought. The sides have to be like next level. There
Yeah.
has to be like a lot of creativity and the presentation is really important and
Yeah.
all those different types of things now.
I think it's just evolution. I mean, I don't ding any of that stuff.
No.
But I do think we're the old guys.
We say that a lot. I'm just like, guys, we're just, you know, we're the old guys now. It's
Kind of feels good. It's a lot less pressure.
there is.
It is.
And there's something to be said for that for sure. And I don't think at all that it invalidates what I've done and how much I've put into my place and to getting it where it's at. I mean, my crew felt all this pressure, and like immediately when the list came out, I get a text, an apology. And I was like, I told you to not apologize. We're not doing what we do because of this. We're doing what we do just because this is what we do. And no matter what, I am really, really proud of where we are. And you guys need to hear me. I keep saying this over and over. What we do is not like anyone else. I mean, the hours that we're open in a day, and then also being a music venue, like we just have this whole other thing that's our thing. Just be proud of what we do.
It's a distinctive
I
style,
brand.
like you aren't trying to replicate anything else.
No, not at all. And I hated that for the longest time. That was always a part of a reason why we weren't good enough, because we're in East Texas, and then we're like, well, it's not like Central Texas. It's like, but we're not trying to be like that.
Yeah.
Please just be open-minded that what we do is our own thing.
Now, when you bring back a newer version of the Kilgore Girls, then things are really going to change.
The Ranger.
The Rangerettes.
The
Yeah.
Stanley's Rangerettes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking to Daniel later in the week, and this is something we're going to pose to him too. It's like there's this evolution. What do you
Well,
think?
he's definitely the guy with the answers.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But to have
Let you
somebody,
know what we hear.
Yeah.
but we're in a unique position to be able to talk to people on both sides of
Mhm.
that issue, and two very influential, the most influential people probably on both sides of that. So it's interesting for us to hear, because I think they would like to hear and like to know, this list it's driving me nuts, and I can't figure it out, and
Yeah.
I'm chasing my tail, and it's just not working, and it's people frustration, they just want to
Yeah.
understand.
Well, like you said, I mean, I think if somebody's chasing a list, they're doing it for the wrong reasons.
Mhm.
You got to kind of follow your heart, do what you feel good about, do what you're proud of, and just do the best darn thing you can.
Yeah.
And that's really what it's all about. I think all of us have gotten so lucky in our places, and I'm proud of all four of us, and I think, at the end of the day, I'm going to look back on this crazy barbecue ride with this place and everything and be like, wow, that was weird. That was cool. What's next?
What's next, man?
Yeah. What
for
is
sure.
next?
Have you even thought about the exit for this?
Every day.
I mean, is it? I mean, there's I thought about that early on, and there's a part of me, I thought at some point I'll just wind it down. I don't know if it'll go on forever.
I don't know either. I mean, Stacy and I have been thinking about it before we got started with it. No, that's not true. But a couple minutes later, we was like,
yeah,
oh my
yeah.
God. I've got some different. We both have varying thoughts, I guess, and it kind of changes from time to time. Like, I would love nothing more for this place to just be like the old school Matt's El Rancho, Louis Miller. It's been there forever. Generations have been going there. And we're definitely there. Like we're in a transitional phase right now.
Yeah.
We're not the hot spot anymore, but we're also like, we're seeing people bring their families that were kids when they started coming here.
Mhm.
Like, and it's
Wow.
really,
That's
it's
cool.
really cool.
That's really
like,
cool.
I love that. And I know them, and like, they're saying the same age somehow, and I am getting considerably older. But like, I'm sitting at the counter having my coffee or whatever, like, giving people hugs. Like, I love that. And like, I grew up in a mom and pop business. My parents had a restaurant. My grandparents had a music store, and it was like that at both of those places. And I love that so much. And that's initially what got me in to wanting to own a business. Like, I grew up in family businesses. I love family businesses. I love locally owned places. And that's what I want. So if we could graduate to that spot that is just like, well, that's where you go, and it's just really sweet, like, mom and pop restaurant, and it is, to continue along with like the legacy of being that would be my preferred goal, and then eventually we're going to have to get out of it And I don't know what that looks like. I mean, someday we very much want to retire a little bit. I've got some cabinets that need to be built. But I don't know, like you were saying with Henry, it's like, I don't know that Viv's going to want this place, and I would never force it on her,
Right.
and never make her feel like, it's owed to her or that she owes us to take it. Like, go do your own thing. Like my grandfather tried to pass down the family record store, the music store, to me when he tried to retire. And I had already moved to Austin, and I was 18. And he calls up one day, and I'd grown up in that store. Like I worked there. I started working there when I was about 11 or 12, really. And then like the day before I moved to Austin was my last day of work there. Like I left at 5 and went home and packed up and came to Austin. And that was, really hard day because it was like saying goodbye to my family. It's the only time I ever saw my grandfather cry. And then I was in Austin for, I don't know, maybe 6 months or so. And my grandpa calls him. He's like, "Hey, I'm going to retire. When are you coming home?" Kind of along the lines of your family situation. Yeah. He's like, when are you coming back to run this place? I'm like, ooh, yeah, I don't know about that. Why the hell are you asking an 18-year-old that lives in Austin that plays music right here with his friends? Like, no, I'm not going to go back to Bryan, Texas. No way. And I thought about it, for about a day. I was like, God, this is a great opportunity, man. Like, I know this place better than anyone besides my grandfather, like I know this business really well. But I called him back. It's like, "Hey, I can't do it. Like this music store was your dream. Like when you were off playing with Bob Wills, doing pedal steel on the road, your dream was to open a music store. You did it. That's not my dream. My dream is to do something that I don't know what it is yet, but it's going to be mine, and it's going to be because I want it." And I didn't really know what it was until I started making barbecue, and that became my dream. But, so I would never, and it was 100% the right move. Like I don't regret it one bit. And, my grandfather closed the store, retired, and everything was fine. But like, I don't ever want to put Viv in that position to be like, "Oh, well, my life is written for me already." Like I want her to be creative. I want her to follow her passions. I want her to be good at something. And I want her just to have a chance to be successful and or fail. Life's just kind of part of life. Like you got to do it. Because I want her to appreciate what she has one day. Like, and so I think for our exit plan getting out of this, like I'm not counting on her. If she wants it, awesome. I mean, she works here on Saturdays. She loves this place. She is a total restaurant kid. She can work that toast system better than I can, and she's 11. And she loves it. And I think she probably will. She's just like me. Oh my God. And I think she might want it one day, but I kind of got to wait it out because she's only 11.
Right.
And if she's like, "Oh, I want that one day," like, so maybe we will close it.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll sell it to somebody. I mean, I definitely don't want to shut it down and just like kill it. So it would be a thing where we would like sell it one day to maybe somebody that's worked here for a long time and just kind of pass the torch. Or maybe I just stop showing up and let it just kind of maintain. And at that point, I might not care so much. I don't know. What's y'all's exit plans? It's good comment. This is where I get to
before we
interview you
get there
guys.
though, I just real quick, did your grandfather see you intersect with you manifesting and realizing your dream and making this
He
happen?
did. He
Okay.
was so proud. Yeah. As the barbecue thing was starting to happen, he was nearing the end of his life. But man, that guy was so proud. I don't think he ever got to eat here. Maybe. No. He did when we first opened, I think. I think my dad drove him down here. But yeah, God, so proud. The
Awesome.
grandparents were incredibly proud. So obviously, even from their perspective, like, "Oh, we knew you were going to do something. We didn't know what. We're just glad you're not in prison." We do.
Definitely.
Are your parents still alive?
Nope.
Yeah, so we've all lost our dads as well.
Yep.
Yep.
And
Getting old, man.
I know it.
Darn it.
I mean, they were they alive long enough to see this come to?
Yeah. Their passings were pretty in the last few years. But yeah, so they saw all the stuff and helped out. Like my dad built some of these tables, and he built all these tables actually. Legs loose. Still standing there. Yeah, they were really, really proud.
Was it surreal for them, having been in the barbecue business, to
Oh
see
my
you
God.
take this and turn it into what it is compared to
Yeah.
what their place was like?
My dad, the only thing that I've got, the only thing of my dad's that I've got besides his really dusty wood lathe, which I need to sell, is his Franklin barbecue hat that he wore. He wore out so many camouflage Franklin hats. And I've got his hat, that I kept. But yeah, he would come up here and he would just drive down randomly, like, get at the tail end of like lunch line and get a sandwich and sit down. They're like, "What are you doing here?"
Yeah.
Like, "Oh, just got hungry. Just thought I'd come by and get a sandwich." It's like, you drove 2 hours to get a sandwich. But he would come in and be like, "Wow, it's just so much flavor." I was like, "Well, at your place, I mean, what did you do?" He's like, "Well," I was like, "You seasoned it, right?" He's like, "No, I don't think we ever put salt on it. I think we just put it on the smokers." Like, "Yeah, man, come on. You have to use salt." So yeah, he was impressed by our use of salt.
It's a little thing sometimes.
Totally.
That's right.
You're like, "Oh, no."
Yeah, I think the cardiologist across the street from us at the hospital, they have literally thanked me.
That's why they relocated.
Yeah, at lunch.
Yeah. Why there's 3 hospitals
Right.
there now.
Hey, thanks for putting my kids through college, Nick. Appreciate it. You got it, buddy. And that's another thing too, is, I mean, have you guys had, like, I've gotten the stern talking to, like, you need to chill out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like,
Yeah, I got some blood work back last week and my sodium's good. But yeah, these bodies, man, they start breaking down.
what's changing? He's got a birthday this weekend. I'm not gonna say it, but
It is true.
Man, I can't believe you're finally going to be 44.
I know.
Right. God, to be 44 again, 60.
No way. Are you serious?
Seriously.
I never would have guessed.
Serious shit. 60 years old.
Holy mother of pearl.
This
Yeah.
dude put me in a full Nelson and lifted me off the ground last night like he was 30.
Yeah. I mean, you guys were much younger when you started into your journeys. I mean, I was in my 40s.
Rough place to start. I haven't thought about that, but that'd be a really rough place to start from.
Man,
I've thought about it, and I've thought, like, if I had to do it all over again, I physically could not do it.
Physically couldn't do it.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
It's just, but I can't imagine being in the 40s and doing that stuff.
yeah, it was,
Jeez whiz, man.
yeah. So, I mean, luckily I had taken care of myself fairly well up to that point. Since then, it's arguable. What is taking care of yourself, but yeah, it's taken a toll. 60 years old. I can't believe it.
And
Yeah.
you still grind harder than anybody that I know.
Yeah.
You're still doing all of the really hard shit.
Dude, I'm telling you, I used to give my dad so much shit about, why don't you fucking just hire some people? He was like, I don't think you understand the culture of the town. And it's like, no, just put an ad in the paper. Do something. He's
Yeah.
like, that's not, you have
It's
to understand
easier,
the
better,
town.
and faster to do it myself.
And that's what he did. And, I've come to learn that, yeah, I mean, I pull most of my talent from out of town.
Mhm.
It's not even from Taylor.
Yeah, when I go through there, I feel like it's all Austin kids and stuff.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Austin, Temple, even not Waco, but I mean, as far away as say as
Definitely
Dripping
not
Springs.
Waco.
Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, so finding those people and then replacing those people, it's just been a nightmare.
Yeah.
I had no idea that was going to be my struggle. Of all things, recruitment,
That was it.
that's it.
That makes your exit a little harder to figure out too.
Yeah, it does. Because, right, it's a constant push for stability,
Mhm.
right? And it's in an unstable environment. That instability is the big puzzle.
So if you've always wanted a career in barbecue,
Don't do it.
come to Taylor, Texas.
So where do you see yourself in like 10 years from now?
Hopefully still upright.
I'm sure. Yeah.
I don't know. Just like you were talking about with Viv, my daughter has never shown any interest at all. But when I was with her in Florence this last fall, she made a comment to me that, I'm not saying I want to go into the restaurant, but if my career just doesn't pan out the way I hope so, and maybe it's
You're like, yeah, so what's your boss's name and number?
Did you know?
and so it's like, okay, well, I mean, there's some cracks in her facade then about, well, maybe. And I don't know if that's just a safety blanket. I don't know, a safety net, or if it's
Maybe
actually something that there's touched on. Similar with me. I mean, I came back, even though I swore I never would, because of my father. It was all about, I want to spend time with you. I really want to spend time with you in a different capacity than I grew up in. Right. And maybe there's some of that happening.
Yeah.
And so as far as I'm concerned, that would be just the most awesome thing.
Oh, heck yeah.
But I can't count on that. Just like you were saying. So 10 years from now, I don't know. 10 years from now, she'll be 31. I'll be 70.
Yeah.
I mean, we're at that confluence about that time. If something's going to happen, it'll probably start to, unfold itself right around then.
Do you think there's a world where you would be able to back out a little bit from the day-to-day stuff?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I was able to do that in, say, 13, 15, 18. I was able to pull myself out more so that I could be out in the world a bit more.
Yeah.
And I thought that was an essential part of what we needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I had good people there that could carry it on. But again, none of them were from Taylor. They were all imports. And a lot of them came out of the Art Institute's culinary school.
Oh, interesting.
Right, in Round Rock, right?
Yeah.
So it was a nice feeder.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that worked well until they went
Somewhere
belly
else.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so once that supply line pretty much dried up, things got more difficult, because what I'm left with now is trying to teach plumbers and movers and HVAC guys how to cook. And this is not a winning.
Those brains do not work in the same way. Yeah.
There's a checklist, and then there's the nuance, and there shall the two meet, right? They don't. I mean, you can't teach people to care. And at the end of the day, if they're not feeling like they're creating something, they're not caring enough.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's been my biggest struggle. It's my greatest frustration.
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
Yeah, I bet it's so tough, especially out there. Like here, we have like a lot of restaurants and stuff. And although it's getting trickier because now people can't really afford to live in Austin that work in restaurants.
Yes.
So there's we're kind of struggling in some areas.
And not only that, but just the number of kids or people from age 16 to 24 that are in the workforce is drastically reduced over 20 years ago. It's like half.
Mm-hmm.
And then of that half that remains, a lot of them just aren't working the way we used to work when we were kids. It's just not there. So that base from which we just generally pull as an industry is just becoming depleted. It's drying up. Where we're going to find these additional people?
Yep.
That's
so true.
And so I look at those sort of things too. And, maybe in 5 years, Taylor will have finally reached a critical mass. Samsung's gravity will pull enough in that we'll see that turnaround.
Mm-hmm.
That's a long time.
Yeah. Exit strategies.
Yeah.
I think, probably for all of us, just keep going until it doesn't go anymore.
Who knows, man? But until then, I'm stoked to get to do it. I'm incredibly grateful for how far it's come, and that, we've made it through it. I mean, things don't seem to be getting really any easier. I mean, even with it being on autopilot or whatever, there's a lot of stuff happening right now that makes it seem scary every day, like our
I feel like I've never seen a harder time than now for a restaurant to exist.
Yes.
Like,
any kind of
labor's
everything
crazy.
Right.
Cost of living is crazy. Inflation's crazy. Cost of goods is crazy. Beef and, oh my God, it's insane.
Yep.
Like, yeah,
Prime costs are just through the roof. I mean,
Yeah, they
just
really
trying
are.
to manage that is almost, it's mind boggling
yeah.
because it's moving faster than you can adjust.
Mm-hmm.
You remember what you were paying for brisket when you opened?
Buck 23.
Yeah, I was trying to, $1.29.
Now we're 840.
$1.29. 840.
840. Freaking ridiculous.
Mm.
And we don't really get to pick and choose anymore. Like, we used to have, because we do EU spec, no growth hormones, and all the offcuts, the non-brisket cuts would go to like Europe and Japan and Brazil and stuff, but now they don't want our stuff. So we're trying to we're only harvesting the cows for the exact number of briskets that we need. Which means we don't get to like pick choose like, nice plate. Wow, good barbling. Well, these can kick out to these other spots or whatever. Now we're just like, we'll take all of it that we can get. Yeah, it's gotten really tricky. Just can't believe how expensive it is. I mean, my God, if we were I don't know what you guys are charging. I don't know what we're charging. $39 a pound.
Yeah.
But man, that's insane. Like when we opened, I think I charged $8 a pound.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh God.
Yep.
I hope people show up. This is so much money. And now it's $39, but it should be 55 or
It
60.
should be higher than that.
Like
Most people don't realize that.
Yeah.
And they complain about it being where it's at. And we freak out every time we have to nudge it up a little bit just so that we're not totally losing
Can't
the
just
grass.
eat it the whole
But
time.
at what point does that just become where people are like not doing it?
Well, and I think it's happening.
I
mean, I think people we're kind of getting to like steakhouse prices,
Yep.
like kind of market stuff. But man, I know I spend differently at the grocery store now than I have, like not buying the steaks in Central Market anymore, way too expensive. And I think, also not going out to eat like we used to, and I think everybody else isn't either. Yeah, times are tricky, man. Should open up a salad place.
I think that's it right there. Think you should open
Franklin
a salad. Yes.
We used to fantasize about owning a Tex-Mex place and the amount of rice and beans that you could sell.
Oh yeah.
It'd be like,
Man, I tell you, we had that taco trailer out back for a little bit. It was great. We did breakfast tacos and coffee. It was called Tacos and Coffee. We did not
How
want
did
to
you
Yelp.
come up with that?
Well, I didn't want a name and I didn't want a Yelp page. I just wanted to be Tacos and Coffee. And then somebody started a Yelp page and then it got weird. But man, the food costs were pretty good. Brisket's expensive, and it was then too. But it was annoying because the prep was out of control. Like the amount of hours spent like roasting tomatoes and charring stuff on a plancha for salsa that you give away for free. I don't know how people do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it barely broke even. COVID killed it. We didn't bring it back after COVID.
Right.
I was like, man, this thing barely broke even. Like we're done with tacos and coffee. But yeah, beans and rice.
Yep.
Salsas.
So much for your tacos and coffee idea, Justin.
Yeah. Damn it. Sorry, dude. I
Yeah.
already had the t-shirts made and everything.
It didn't work. Well, man, thank you so much for sitting down with us.
Absolutely.
It's really good to see you again, man.
Super good to see you
Yes.
guys. It's been way too long.
Too long.
We should 100% get beers. Just let me know anytime you guys are in town or if I'm passing through, which they don't let me out very often. But yeah, love to see more of y'all.
Yeah,
Been way
for
too
sure.
long.
We can't wait this long again until next time.
Yeah.
Mm,
10 years was way too long.
for sure.
Thanks, man.
So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for driving to good old ATX and sitting in a place. Sorry, we're closed today.
I know.
No barbecue for you.
We'll have to try again.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got a lot of Mrs. Barron's sitting back there.
I'm just glad we ran into you.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Chuck me and Joni coming out of Megalomart.
So thanks a lot. And
did it.
good luck on all your new ventures and your event space. I think that's going to be badass. It
I hope
really
so.
is.
Well, y'all should
Yeah.
come by and hang out over there because it's also built to be like, we could do like chef dinners. We do like collaborative parties. It's got a huge parking lot, big outdoor space.
Awesome.
We're building a smokehouse over there and stuff.
Oh,
so
wow.
there's a lot of fun to be had at the new space.
Right on.
For sure. Hey, in some of these questions, I feel like you should have Daniel Vaughn on your podcast.
That's a great idea.
damn, dude. That's why you're Aaron Franklin.
All right, that was a great time. Episode 3 in the bag, y'all. We want to thank Aaron Franklin for spending the morning with us in Austin. We had a really great time. As always, you can enjoy the amazing barbecue that Aaron, Stacy, and the whole team at Franklin's prepare at the barbecue joint on East 11th Street in Austin. You can find them online at franklinbbq.com as well as Instagram, franklinbbq. Aaron and Stacy have a new venture over at Uptown Sports Club. They're located on East 6th Street in Austin, serving up a Texan take on Louisiana homestyle brasserie fare. They also have the great collaboration with the team at Uchi, that is Loro Asian Smokehouse. They have locations in Austin, Dallas, and Houston. So good. I go every time I'm in Dallas. I absolutely love it. But if you can't get to Austin, Taylor, Dallas, or Tyler, I want to remind everyone that Franklin Barbecue, Louis Miller Barbecue, Pecan Lodge, and Stanley's Famous Pit Barbecue all ship nationwide on goldbelly.com. Check it out and get the best Texas barbecue and other delicious things shipped right to your door. I feel like Goldbelly should give us a promo code for y'all to use or something. Maybe one day when we get our listenership up past 3 or 5 people. Y'all like and subscribe. And finally, the biggest thank you to all of our listeners out there. Thanks for your patience. I know it's been a minute since we were able to get another episode out, but our schedules are crazy and we're all stuck with me doing the editing at the moment, and I have no idea what I'm doing. So that's a thing. But we do have another episode recorded already. We interviewed Daniel Vaughn, aka the Barbecue Snob. He's the barbecue editor of Texas Monthly Magazine and perhaps the kingmaker of barbecue joints, as he curates the top 50 lists released every 4 years. So stay tuned for that episode. Also, if you are a content editor, producer, or all-around podcast badass, let us know if you can help us out. We'd love to find a partner in crime to help get more content out on a regular basis. Hit us up. Send an email, hello@smokelesspodcast.com. Also, send any questions to us to that address. Who should we interview? What should we stop talking about? What should we start talking about? Hit us up, but please be nice. We are real people. And of course, we have to ask you to follow us and subscribe wherever you listen to or watch Smokeless. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, Pandora, and YouTube. On behalf of Wayne and Justin and myself, thanks for listening to Smokeless. We'll see you next time.